Very strange.
So Mike, do you want to be the one to call it to order since you're the vice chair?
Oh, sure, sure. So it's
Okay, you're all set.
It's 7:01. We'll call the meeting to order. The first item of business is to approve the minutes from our last meeting of August 5th.
Make that
If I
motion.
could ask you to state a roll call of all the members that are present.
Okay, sorry about that. So we'll do a roll call. Rusty,
I'm present. Rusty Cabot.
Mike Steers is present.
Wexler's present.
Wayne Montgomery present.
Ed Mayato present.
Thank you.
So back to first item is to approve the minutes from the August 5th meeting.
Can make that motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
So one of you can second. Oh, here's our chairman.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Technical difficulties.
Well, we're just in the
Ed
process of,
Mayato and David Wexler.
so Bill, we're in the process of approving the minutes from the August 5th meeting.
Great. Have we made that motion?
We've made the motion. It's been seconded. We have not voted yet.
Okay, let's do that. I'm in favor.
All right.
Aye.
But for the record, I know I can see you, but it needs to be clarified as to who's actually.
So Bill Richmond, Wayne Montgomery, Dave Wexler, Mike Steers, and Rusty Cabot. And that's who have voted affirmative for approve the minutes.
Thank you.
As did
Okay.
I, Bill. Ed
Oh,
Mayato.
sorry. I didn't see you there, Ed. Hi, Ed. Ed
Okay.
also voted yes. Okay, review of correspondence.
No, we need a
Oh,
vote
we
to
haven't
seal the
closed it.
minutes.
We haven't
Oh, pardon me.
we haven't sealed the executive session yet.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to vote to seal the August 5th, 2020 executive session minutes, please.
Motion
All in
made by
favor?
Wayne Montgomery. Who was the second,
Yes.
please?
Second. Rusty.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All members present voted aye. Okay, moving on to number 3, review of correspondence received. Email from Leslie Fox. I've spoken with Leslie Fox. It's not a trust matter really anyway. Email from Renee Welshman regarding 90 South Shore Road property. I wrote her back. It's in your packet. That's a 2¼ acre lot, which I didn't think we wanted to pursue. And I also wrote her that we had discussed and declined to make an offer at the south of Commons property that she had inquired about separately. Email from Ian Arthur requesting a conservation map. Cheryl wrote him back and took care of him. Email from Denise Cosgrove, tax assessor, regarding the dotted line issue. If you've seen the correspondence in your packet, I did write back with basically the position that we previously stated. And I need to follow up with Denise, I guess, and the town council. Is there any other input on that subject?
I think Tony circulated a request for a meeting, and Tack Eddie said he was going on vacation and asked for it to be scheduled later in September. So I think the distribution was standing by to see for new dates from Tony as to when he might propose a meeting.
Okay, and tax a assessor,
Tack is the secretary of the zoning board.
secretary of the zoning board. Okay. Public notice from the Compton zoning board review. This is the Maras are replacing a deck. Nothing for us there. Letter from Joseph E. Ingoldsby promoting his services as a landscape architect and orchardist. Letter from John Ibbotson promoting his field services, mowing services work. Moving on, treasurer's report. Wayne, what do you got?
Okay, treasurer's report, beginning balance, $1,831,486.82. Revenues from tax return is $49,520. Private donation, $7,000. Interest earned, $1,066.98. Monthly expenses, $19,198.38. And a closing balance of $2,069,875.42. Last month, we had 7 transactions for a total of $230,400.
All right.
Bills, if the tax transfer check out,
Yes.
want to move on to the bills?
Yes, please.
Russo Landscaping, $4,434. Carol Traki, $1,250. United States Postal Service, $110. Alcoholic and Sheen, $422.50. Judy Jones, $1,500. Cheryl Katie, $3,037.50. Helga Brothers, $405. United Postal Service reimbursement is $13. Mosaic Land Management, $4,500. That's it on the bills.
Make a motion, we pay the bills.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 It's unanimous from all members in the affirmative. Cheryl, the bill authorization sheet that I had didn't include that last.
No, I added it to
bill.
the one that I printed from you. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, just so you have a signed authorization.
I
Good.
do.
Okay. Thanks, Wayne. Old business, subcommittee reports, website. Well, so I asked Cheryl if we know, or if we look up, I know you can know, who goes to our website, how many people, who they might be, and so on. And she has asked our website hoster to look that up for us. What did he say? How long that would take, Cheryl?
I emailed him. I haven't heard back.
Okay. I think it's worth looking at that stuff to see who's looking at us. The other thing in this Public Awareness Committee update, I can tell you that I have formed a committee of John Gwynn, Ned Levine, Helena Harris, who you may recall is a woman who came to one of our meetings. She's in the public communications business and she put her hand up to volunteer. So I asked her to join this group and she agreed. And Carter Wilkie, who's also in the communications business and had tried to go on to the trust, interested in a lot of agricultural and other issues. So if there are members who want to join this committee, you're welcome to. We have planned our inaugural meeting for this Sunday at 10:30 outside at John Gwynn's backyard. So our first idea there is to take the messages that we developed or started to develop for our summer solstice event in terms of informing the public of what we do and how we do it and the benefits thereof, and creating a strategy to sort of trickle those out to the public. And I don't know the methods we're going to use. That's what these experts are going to tell me. Then another sort of sub theme that I'd like to introduce in this, this committee with approval from the board as we develop ideas would be to develop ways to get the public onto ag trust land that is public. Whether that's walks, we talked about some walks, photography contests, all kinds of ideas flowing around, but I think as a public body, we should be speaking to the public, explaining ourselves. And I think also if people can get out on the land, it can only be good for them and us. So any thoughts or input on that, those ideas?
Said the first meeting is Sunday morning at John Gwynn's.
10:30. Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to stewardship. Carol? Well, actually, Carol, before you go, if I could say something, the report, the one dated August 26th, the progress report. We need, as a group, to start thinking about this progress report lays out succinctly that we have another year roughly to go on our 3-year program. We've been busy adding work to the scope of our stewardship needs, and we need to think collectively and with Carol how we are going to continue that work at the end of the current contract. So with that said, and letting people think about that, while you update us, Carol, please go ahead.
Sure. So you have a report from me in your packet, I think, that sort of outlines where we are to date. I'm happy to answer any questions anyone has on it. We've been plowing along. I feel like we're kind of on a roll now with Adam and Julia on board. Things have been moving along at a steadier pace. So let's see. I mean, I can summarize quickly. I don't want to waste your time because I know you have it in front of you already, but there's been a lot of effort in the last few years, particularly by Cheryl, but also sort of in collaboration with Cheryl for organization and record keeping, and having everything up on the website makes it much easier, and having land evidence records online to dig in when we start on a property to make sure we understand exactly where boundaries are, what information exists. So that was a heavier lift towards the beginning and is now sort of, there's a little bit more of a flow in place. With BDRs, we're just chipping along. We tried to hit the properties that had a lot going on or had ownership changes first, kind of continuing to do that while we tick off fee-owned properties, wooded properties in the wintertime as time allows. You have a spreadsheet in your packet that details what's been done and what's remaining. So happy to answer any questions or take feedback if folks have concerns about particular pieces of land. You know, the order in which we've been approaching it has been a little bit scattershot based on priorities as they rise, but can certainly take feedback on that. Management guidelines we've been working on collectively as a group. That'll continue to develop. I know, I apologize, there's a hissing cat in the background. Management guidelines, happy to just keep going through sort of your policies and procedures, tackling sort of issues and then applying them to like properties that kind of share a management need based on the resources that are present. We can circle back to that as we move along. And lastly, with annual monitoring, just got to Bill and Cheryl today, the NRCS reports for this round for them. So all of the NRCS properties are done. I'm happy to run through those with you. Finishing up the monitoring of regular properties, more than 50% there, but got a few people hanging out scheduling wise. No surprises, nothing major. I think by your October meeting, I'll be able to give you a rundown of sort of a full report of findings from this round of site visits, but there hasn't been anything, anything that requires immediate attention. The things that we've been countering, I've been sharing as we went. So hopefully the remainder will not have surprises either.
Great.
You have any questions for me? The only last thing to Bill's point, I tried to summarize at the end of the stewardship report, just some things that you all might want to think about or consider kind of moving forward based on where we are now. So happy to talk more about that as you request.
Okay.
Hear me?
No,
Can't hear you.
David Wetchler's trying to talk, but we can't hear him.
How do you do it?
You're on mute right now, David.
How about now?
Now we can hear you. Yes.
So, Carol, in your report, you mentioned that since you were the original designer of how you're presenting this, that maybe you would be able to streamline it in the future.
Specifically just for monitoring, the monitoring reporting process when we started back in 2012, and kind of standard protocol, just filling out individual paper online forms for each property. We may think about as you get more and more properties. One of the things that's been happening with monitoring, which is awesome, is that by reaching out to landowners with a letter every year and asking for their contact information and permission information, we've been talking to landowners a lot more. So there's a lot more kind of back and forth, a number of landowners asking to be present at a visit, which is fantastic, but often less specific to monitoring and more asking questions about the trust or sharing sort of possibilities for future plans. And so there may be ways that we can, as we're picking up steam and you're kind of building this database, think about how we can organize it and streamline it a little bit more just to make the process more efficient, because it's very different today than it was when we started, where I was, essentially trespass monitoring and just driving around town and kind of looking at what I could see. So there's just more going on, which is all good, but just growing.
We as a committee say, go ahead and do it, because you're the expert, and anything you can do to streamline it, I think we're going to be supporting.
Completely at your discretion. I mean, we can also finish up this last round that's under this contract, just sort of the way we've been doing it, and then maybe think about when we get started for next year, if we want to make it look different, or I'm completely open to whatever you want. I mean, I committed to what is here now at the cost and everything else, so we'll see it through.
But why don't we stay the way we finish the course we're on, and then as we get close to the end, Carol can put together a proposal as to how we might consider changes and address them at that time.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm perfectly comfortable with that, and I think it's a good idea.
Okay, great. Thanks, Carol.
Sure.
So I can tell you, I think you guys were all copied, but if you weren't, we did send the Peckham management plan that we approved last month up to the state. We have not heard back. It hasn't been very long. Other stewardship items on our list here, stewardship and tree cutting at Lash, no action, no fence work at PT Marble. Wayne, did you make any progress at Douglas on the well?
Progress is pretty slow on that project.
Yeah,
so
okay. At
I'll see if I
Trowbridge
can
Stone,
get this.
okay. So Mike Jagier, I think I mentioned this last month, he did make an opening at the Trowbridge Stone Erdman, Plat 12, Lot 69-1. We need to do a little more work there to make it a little more inviting and more path-like. In your packet here, there's a series of correspondence between Karen Dobman and myself with Cheryl copied in there, and it speaks to the idea that last month we talked about mowing, and I approached her about that, and she's fine with that. Wayne, are you talking to Jackie these days on a regular basis by any chance?
Yes, I do.
So we could send him in there.
No, I read this over. Is she gonna pay for this or are we paying for this?
We're gonna pay for this year's mowing.
When we're gonna wean ourselves off of this and let the land?
Well, I think it'll be next year because, but hopefully by that time she's got her own gear and she's got her plan and she's
Right.
separated from fighting with Mike and she's doing more things there.
Now, also they said about a survey, that land, if I recollect, there's cement bounds on that.
Well, we had it resurveyed not long ago, so we should.
I think Michael,
Yeah, we had John Barker do the survey, and we had John Barker go back and put stakes in to mark where the bounds are. And there have been issues between them. So I think that we can consider having John put new stakes in to mark where the bounds are, and have a meeting of the minds at the site when he does that, so that we collectively come to some agreement to respect each other's property.
To Wayne's point, Mike, do you know if John Barker found the cement bounds that we think are there?
I think he did, but there were some iron pins and there were some cement bounds, and we had him go back and stake those so that it would be obvious. And I have not personally been back. Carol and I went there and monitored it shortly after the stakes were put in, before we cleared along the wall on the east side. And apparently the stakes have been disappeared. So I think that in order to settle things, we're going to have a collective meeting with.
If the stakes are
Pardon?
gone, the bound should still be there.
Yeah, but it's a question of reviewing the property corners with the property owners and gaining some form of respect as to who owns what. And I think we're sort of in the middle, and we're in a position to help collectively get some agreement.
Would it be possible, do we need John Barker, or can we go back with some stakes and find those bounds, put some stakes there, walk around with Karen and Mark, her husband, or Matt, I guess Matt, and say, these are the stakes, these are the bounds. We're going to write a note to Mike and say, we've put these stakes in, these are the bounds as surveyed, please respect them. And then, I mean, I want to be productive here, but I don't really want to inject myself into this argument between them.
So I'm for that. I know the plan's been recorded, so I can pull the survey, and maybe you and I can walk over there and see if we can see the corners and help mediate the situation.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So I'll go get the survey and then get together with you.
Perfect. Okay, that'd be good. The rest of this stuff is up to Karen and Matt as far as getting a fence and looking up what the laws about fences are and stuff, and all that. But I can make some recommendations to her. That's what I plan to do. So that's that.
So can I ask a question here, Bill?
Yes, sure.
Do you know what her plan is for that 12 acres?
Not exactly, no, and I don't think she does either. She talks about renting some of it to a farmer. She talks about some crops. She's previously talked about you know, planting a variety of wildflowers and fruit-bearing plants and so on. So I would say it's a moving target, and she's been distracted by her conflict with her neighbor, as well as just getting her house in order in general, I think. So no, I don't have a specific plan.
I think we just need to make sure that she understands what the deed says when she comes up with this plan, because it's not ironclad, but it's fairly specific about crop production and livestock.
Well, that's right. And she's come up with a plan that we rejected, and we've told her so. So I think these latest suggestions in the notes that she sent most recently speak to things that, at least on the first blush, would seem to be part of what's allowed and encouraged under the easement. So again, we'll see, but let's get her improving as best we can, and then work with her.
Okay.
And she's working with NRCS too, so there's that.
Yeah, her note was all over the map though, with, you know, sort of Xerces environment for pollinators and cutting it 3 times for hay. And but when she finally comes down with something, we just need to make sure it fits in with the deed.
Yeah, agreed. Absolutely right. And I think she understands that, and because we've been through at least a informal submit a plan for review process with her, which we rejected. So, and we've now reminded her 2 years in a row about the minimal needs of the easement of mowing, and we're doing the mowing. So I think she's slow, but getting up to speed on what's required there. And I think, you know, I don't think there's a lot of money there. I think she's probably here now full time with COVID, working remote and stuff. So maybe there's an opportunity to do a little more interaction with her and push her along. Anything else for that property? Bissinger is on here. Mike, I'll let you explain it. It's not really anything critical and current, but Mike can give us the background.
So the Bissinger easement called for 3 building locations and the ability to develop 2. They were identified, and at one point, the location C, which is on the north portion of the property abutting Treaty Rock, was selected, and they tried to sell it, and that fell through. So then they went to Plan B, which was to combine that area with the original house lot, and then they sold that property to Dick Morash. So that left the 2 building locations available on lot 40-2. So one of those 2A, which is on the eastern, or it was actually in the center of 40-2, Fred built his house on. And he's currently has a house there. And he had a proposal, I'm going to say 3 or 4 years ago, to subdivide that property and take advantage of the building site on the western portion of the property. So currently, the lot is 1 lot, 40-2, and Mr. Morash has approached him to buy the western end, should the lot be subdivided. So as part of this development process, access to Fred's property came into question. Originally building his house, he was going to use Bayberry Lane, which was the family driveway. With the sale of the property to Mr. Morash, that opportunity went away. So now Fred utilizes Church's Lane as access to his house. So we've had, we, meaning the planning board, has had lots of conversation with the fire chief about access to properties that are subdivided in general. And so I responded to, I think, a notice that went to everybody about the application of a new subdivision, subdividing lot 40-2, and replied that we would have to get approval from the fire chief and the police chief before an application could be submitted in order to consider a subdivision of that lot. So at the moment, I would say that there's no definitive application to subdivide that. There's certainly some soft agreement between Morash to buy and Fred to sell, but exactly what it will be and the access to it has not been established and defined, so there's no application before the planning board to consider.
So Mike,
Do we-
the plat map I'm looking at says that 40-2 is allowed only 1 2-acre building envelope, but you said there were 2?
Yes. So interestingly enough, in this correspondence, Cheryl and I we observed what the plat book shows and what the actual filed plan of the subdivision shows. And erroneously, some consideration of the old lot C was maintained on the plat book. In any case, the plat book is not correct, does not reflect the actual recorded plan.
Okay.
So the 2 building sites that were permitted by the original easement for that the Bissingers gave to the trust provided for 2 building envelopes, and A and B are on 40-2. And the one that Fred is built on is B, and A remains.
Do we know that, we have any inkling of Mr. Morash's intentions for the western portion of 40-2 when it becomes whatever it is, 40-6? Will he merge it back into 40-5 and
Well,
therefore extinguish that building right, or will he maintain it, do you think?
I definitely think he will maintain the building right. Carol and I joined Carol on her monitoring excursion with the explicit purpose of trying to engage and understand what the thoughts Mr. Morash might have. And he had indicated to us that he was interested in buying that property, and he was interested in expanding the area with which is planted, that he would expand what is now corn and add acreage with alfalfa, as he has done to the rest of his property. So it appears that he wants to expand the agricultural use of the property. He also wants to build a house. And he would, as we understand it, would have access to that lot from Bayberry Lane, which of course he could do since he owns it. But that would have to be approved by the fire department.
Right. Okay. Thanks for that, Mike. Leases for John and Julia, all the leased farm properties. There's sample lease or advertising language in your packet.
I'd like to speak to that a little bit, Bill.
Yep, please do.
I've been reviewing the leases, and some of the tenants haven't lived up to their agreements that they made at the last, on the leases. I've spoken to, Craig on the Gagnon property. He was supposed to clean up a pile of debris, and he's done afterward. And I'd like to be able to speak to Skip. He was supposed to remove the fruit trees. We gave him kind of a handshake extension on that. But if these guys, they put in their leases that what they're gonna do, and if they don't do it, I don't think we should lease the land to them again unless they're gonna do what they say. I'd like the authority to follow up on this and make sure that they're gonna do it, or we're not gonna lease it to them again.
Yeah, fair enough. How would you like to do that?
Don't write in your lease you're gonna do something if you're not gonna do it. That's what I say. So I'd like to talk to Skip and stay on Craig on his part of the end of it too. And,
So those three properties, John and June Goulart, the Gagnon property and the Almy property, we rolled those last time. So those
say it again.
we already extended those three leases one time.
So they have to reapply.
Yes,
That's what I'm gonna
they need to
say.
be advertised.
We should say we're not gonna consider the lease to them if they don't agree, live up to the agreement they made in the previous lease. That's all I'm trying to say.
Okay.
And I'm 100% sure that, they're gonna do what they've written down, in their leases that they would do. They're all eager to, lease the land again. But I just wanted to bring that up, that, there's things that are in there that they haven't done, and we should make sure that they get done before we lease it to them again.
Do we need to formalize that communication rather than just have it be verbal?
Say that again?
Do we need to formalize that communication between you and the lessees?
I think that's a great idea, and I think it should be a letter from the trust to the lessees that say, live up to
I would say, let me talk to them
lease.
this month, and if they don't get onto it, then we'll write them a letter. These leases aren't gonna be, voted upon until the first of the year, I believe. Right, Cheryl?
Well, if you look at the posting that I did, I believe I was looking to advertise them. I was looking to advertise them and have proposals in no later than October 28th for our November 4th meeting. That way it gives us from November to the end of December to get leases signed ready for January 1st.
Right, if you wanna
We
send.
can change that date if you want to.
If you wanna send a letter, fine, that's fine with me.
Yeah, so why don't we do both? Wayne, why don't you go have the conversations in relatively short order, and we will follow up with the letter, which we'll share with you, obviously, so we're on the same, we're delivering the same message. And then we'll stick to this, at least we'll try to stick to this advertising and awarding of lease schedule as proposed.
Okay.
Okay, so we want a motion?
One quick question, Cheryl. The Ponce property and the Costa property, that's,
I listed them separately, so you have the option to roll that
okay.
for, another 2 or 3 years.
I'd like to talk to Joe, because he hasn't done what he said he was gonna do either. And I'll just remind him that, to live up to the bargain that, he made, the agreement he made.
He's also stubbornly encroached outside of his leased area.
Yes. So Wayne,
Yes.
can we, this is an interesting topic because it's going to increase over the years. So in the Peckham Road property, Skip has left miles of old irrigation tubing, pipe, hose.
Yeah. I've talked to him about that because
Well,
Jackie got his mower wound up in it one year. And I talked to Skip about removing that, and whether he has it, I don't know. Is it still there?
Some of it is still there, and there's plastic there. Currently there's some, baskets and bins he uses to harvest with. So yeah, there's some work to do there. There's work to do at John and June Goulart as well. Not only the fruit trees, but he should be clearing that fence. And he's supposed to mow the back too, and I don't know that he's done that. So,
I'll check on all that.
okay. So why don't I draft these letters as I understand the deficiencies? I'll share them with Wayne. And in the meantime, can I have a motion to approve Cheryl placing these advertisements as presented and on the schedule presented? And what do you need for money to do that, Cheryl?
Nothing, they just sent us a bill.
Okay.
Make that motion.
So
Second.
we're going to advertise Goulart, Gagnon, and Almy,
Right.
correct? Okay. Who made the motion, please?
I did, Rusty.
And who's second?
We should, one quick question. We
Wait,
don't,
who was the second?
Wayne.
I was.
Thank you.
We don't, and we probably should, we don't lease the Peckham property to Skip.
I know. How did that happen?
I think it was an oversight. He had it before and we just, but I think we ought to include at least the tillable land, at least. Not so much the hay land. We're kind of glad somebody mows it for nothing. And I think
Right.
we should include that piece of property with our bid process.
Okay,
Let's-
which means I have to rewrite this. So how about if we do a motion to authorize Bill to send a letter to Skip Paul and Craig Hibbard regarding fulfillment of their lease agreement?
Yeah, do we
And
need
then
one
we
for
carry
John
the
Muller?
advertising over till next month, and I'll change the date.
That's fine.
Wayne, do we need a letter for Joe?
Yes.
No, because his lease isn't up.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know, but we're-
If we want to, we can.
his lease is up,
I thought we were going to renew it.
but you can extend it if you want.
All right, let's send one to Joe then.
Okay.
Okay.
there's no
And
point
his
in renewing his lease if he's not doing it.
Right, okay.
deficiency is cover crop and not staying within the leased area, correct?
Well, no, he also said he was going to mow around the edges of the field.
Okay.
I don't think he's done that. The cover crop, I think he does it, but I think the geese just decimate it.
Okay.
We'll just,
Okay. So I'll put all of these on for next month, and you can decide what to do with them, if you want to roll them or
okay.
if you want to advertise them all.
Yes, that'd be good, Cheryl. I think it's a good idea to have a motion authorizing me to send these letters of deficiency under the leases we've discussed. Could I hear that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Rusty with the first, Wayne with the second. Everybody approved?
Discussion, David?
just approving.
Oh, okay. Yes,
Aye.
unanimous approval. Thank you all. All right. Which brings us to Acquisition Committee. Helger Bento Tree Farm. I have a note from Jean about the lot in the back potentially going up for sale, and the access to that lot is through her place on a right of way. She had Ray Hollins looking at that right of way, and I talked to Ray And let's see, what is that, 25? 24, 25? Anyway, I don't think we're in a position financially to move on an offer for her as of yet. Hopefully next month, we can discuss that more seriously if we're so inclined. And, but I just wanted to let you know that there is activity on her abutting land, and Ray Holland is talking to her, which is helpful, actually. Nothing on driver. BHS, we had a purchase and sale draft, which included language about the use of the right-of-way for the buyer on the southwest lot, which was not what I had agreed with them. I had asked them to put me in touch with that buyer so we could negotiate temporary use of that right-of-way by them directly. And then they put into the purchase and sale agreement that we were selling, or we were giving permanent use of that right-of-way to the successor owner of that lot. And I didn't really want to do that. I wanted it to be temporary, and I want to work with this new neighbor too. So that is happening, but that there's that minor hangup. Nothing on Cotta West, Baldrige Trust, other than last month we did tell the realtor for Baldrige Trust that we weren't going to make an offer there. Nothing on Ryan Levine.
Do we want to continue carrying it, Baldridge?
For now, yes.
Okay.
Rice, nothing. Jackson, I know Wayne and I had a conversation. Wayne had a conversation with Kyle. I've had conversations and emails with Joe, all in the last 5 days or so. And I asked Joe this morning to get back to me today for this meeting. He texted me at 6:32 and he says, I just had a great conversation with Kyle. I am hopefully meeting him Saturday or Tuesday to review a sample conservation easement and see if I can pin everything down. I wanted you to see this for the meeting. So they've actually talked finally, and they have an appointment to get together, which is good news. Nothing on Souza, Westport Land Conservation, we've approved. Per the board's advice, I sent the easement, their proposed easement, to Joe. He's approved it. They are working on completing that donation. Nothing on Alverness, Manchester, nothing on Ratcliffe. Any other acquisition issues?
Before we move off that, quite a while ago, we had discussed distributing the draft purchase and sales agreements for review. Are we still in agreement we want to do that? Because I haven't seen any.
Yeah, we haven't done any, except we have been working on this one for BHS. So I can send you that. Happy to.
That'd be great.
Okay. No, I haven't done any work on the model conservation easement. John Berg, Nature Conservancy update.
Unmute me. Reacting to your notes there, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ratcliffe's DEM is good for their commitment to the Ratcliffe property until at least June of next year, if a deal is to be had. It's my sense that Ratcliffe's just aren't interested in selling that property. They really were never returning phone calls, not really willing to work too hard, not willing to work at all. So Helger Bento, I've had conversations with Alan Booth over the years. He wants to talk with me again. That interior parcel behind Jeannie Bento, it's always been important for conservation. DEM would love to buy it. They've just never come to agreement on price. I've spent the summer up and down No Name Brook. We've exercised our option to buy the forested portion of the Cooper property. We've got a gift coming on from BHS at the corner of Amesbury Lane and Pottersville Road, and we've got another conservation easement coming on closer to Rockbridge Road. So little by little, we're trying to keep that brook in the woods. That's really the skinny, yeah?
Did BHS require you to put an easement as well as take the donation on that corner piece?
No, I explained how it works and they said that wouldn't be necessary.
They were worried you were gonna put a Walmart in there.
Yeah. Well, what really happened, I spent 20 years talking with Sister
John, I
A,
got a
and then
question.
Sister B proposed the gift,
Wait,
and Sister A was really, beat her to the punch.
Right.
So anyway, all good. I
John,
guess that's my story.
I have a
I've been,
question for you.
yeah, sorry,
John, I have a question for you.
David, David.
This is Wayne Montgomery. I have a question for you.
Wayne, do you want to go first?
If we don't use that Radcliffe grant, can we roll it over to something else?
It's worth talking. I mean, DEM, it's bond money. They, if they don't spend it here, they'll spend it in some other town.
Well, let's have that conversation
Can we
with
roll it
Michelle.
over on another project for us?
I think we have to
Because
ask,
we could roll it over towards Helga Bento or something. But I don't think Radcliffe looks like to me it's not gonna fly.
yeah, I agree. So let's, I
Shame
will
to lose
reach
the
out
money,
to Michelle.
yeah.
I'll reach out to Michelle on that and we'll see what she says. That's a good idea, Wayne. David, you were saying?
I'll pass. I'll get John outside of the meeting.
Okay.
Uh-oh, okay. I'll stay tuned. You know where to find me.
Watch your back.
Okay, is that it, John?
Yeah. That's all for now.
Okay, great. Thank you. No new applications. We don't need an executive session. I can update you on the acquisition opportunity to Nelson that we have an appraisal. And the Historical Society's waiting to get theirs before we talk price. And then I can also tell you that the 7,000 donation that appeared in our finances is a purposeful donation to support this project. And that the idea is once, hopefully we get to a meeting of the minds on price with the Historical Society, then our volunteer group and whomever else wants to be involved goes and fundraises for it. So that's the plan there. And hopefully we're within, I don't know, a month or two of getting some resolution there. That is all we have for this month's meeting, I believe, unless there's anything else. Hearing none, I would entertain a motion
Can I,
to
pipe in?
adjourn.
This is Larry.
Hi, Larry, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, unlike my other end pretty soon, and I did feel that I owed the council, having, I've attended your meetings here for the last couple of years, some kind of report on, just my thoughts about some of the issues that you're dealing with. So I thought before your next meeting, I would circulate to you for your meeting and to the council at that time a memo about a few things, some of which you've talked about tonight, your monitoring work, your public awareness work. But as you know, I'm sort of concerned about the some of the tax collection issues. And I thought it's somewhat timely. Just this week, our new appointed finance director started work in town as of this Monday. So it seems to me that other town officials, council and others might be a timely moment to look into some of those issues with the new person on the job. So I just wanted to give you a heads up that before next meeting, I was going to, I'm going to try, I will get it done. I'm going to send you a memo to be on the agenda of your next meeting. So I just wanted to give you a heads up for that.
Great. Thank you for that, Larry, and for your diligent attendance and input over these last couple of years. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Well, thank all you guys. You're doing, you really work hard. I appreciate it for the town. Thank you.
Okay, hearing no more discussion, motion to adjourn, please.
I make
So
the
moved.
motion, Aaron.
David makes the motion, Wayne seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Night.
Bye-bye. Thanks, Carol,
Good night.
both Carols.